Hi, welcome to another episode of Conversations with Rajiv. Rajiv, welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here, Becky.
Rajiv, you're a certified employee wellness coach. So today would be a great opportunity to speak to you about what employees really want. What according to you is the single largest factor that drives employee engagement? Is it money? Is it a big title? Is it job security? What is it?
It's a very important question, very relevant question. And I think all the three factors that you mentioned are extremely important. Money is very important. So is career growth, which is a designation, and job security. But there are certain issues which are there below the surface and which are very core. For instance, just the knowledge of an employee that his or her contribution is making a significant difference, not only from an organization progress point of view, but to the lives of a few people or even a community. Take, for example, that you have to understand that every industry is actually solving a problem. The pharma industry is in the business of healing. The education industry is looking at eradicating illiteracy. The airline industry is actually bringing mommies and daddies back home safely. I remember many years ago, when I was, as part of my induction process in a life insurance company, I was asked to go and hand over a death claim check to a family which had just lost their breadwinner. Now that was a very powerful interaction. Right? It was overwhelming, to say the least. As I entered that room, I could sense the sorrow that was there. I could sense a loss of hope. But as I handed over the check, in the midst of that loss of hope, the family members began to see some hope for the future. Then and there I realized that I was not just an employee in a life insurance industry, but I was in the business of actually giving hope to people who had actually lost hope. The thing is, in the hurry-burry of chasing top line and bottom line, we forget this important lifeline. That the knowledge of what an organization does is so critical. And organizations which are able to articulate the why of what they do to their employees in a way that employees internalize it are organizations that really do well and are market leaders.
That's great, Rajiv. However, the most common grievance that most employees have is that they feel like just a resource or a tool or just a cog in the system. And what are your thoughts about that?
I think there's some truth in it. The thing is, when you value people, they end up generating value. Herb Keller, the legendary founding CEO of Southwest Airlines, when asked the question as to how is it that Southwest Airlines, over the last 5 decades, quarter on quarter, they've made profit. So what is that driving mantra, if you may? His answer, was very profound. He said the reason we were able to deliver this high level of performance is because of our operating principle. And he says the operating principle of Southwest Airlines is that the business of business is people. It's very important that we respect our workforce, our employees, not just treat them as a resource. You got to recognize them as individuals with emotions and feelings. Often we call our workforce with different names, and one is feet on street. I mean, how sad is that, right? They are actually value creators. It's important for management teams, leadership, and organizations to recognize people as people, recognize them as stakeholders in the large scheme of things for the success of the organization. And once you do that, you will instill a sense of pride within the employees, and they are going to give you the very best. So you got to ensure that people are not feeling like they are disposable commodities that can be just thrown off at any time. Again, successful organizations have made this transition, looked at employees as part of their stakeholders as much as their shareholders are part of their stakeholders.
Rajiv, I have another question for you. Why do you think employee attrition is such a big issue?
See, the point is, Becky, employees spend a lot of time at their workplace. And one of the largest factors that affect profitability and productivity is employee attrition. So why are employees leaving? Is it just because of a better offer? Well, the exit interviews seem to suggest that. But if you dig behind the surface, you'll understand that the single largest issue for employee attrition, I mean, besides everything else, is that work tends to become monotonous. And the fact is that employees are not provided critically an opportunity to learn and develop. That is a big challenge. But it's important that organizations and managers are cognizant of this fact and they create an environment of learning and development. Also provide opportunities for employees to go and solve a challenge. And may I add, with a license to fail. Because in my mind, failing is a wrong word, because every time they're not able to solve the challenge, they're actually learning something new. And when you offer this opportunity to learn, this opportunity to put to practice what you have learned, what it actually produces is a state of freshness. And this freshness actually eliminates the monotony that exists. And this is a great antidote to attrition. Create an environment of continuous learning and development on the job.
Okay, Rajiv, what according to you are the management styles that bring out the best in an employee?
There is no single management style. There are different management styles for different situations, and that's why we have this whole concept of situational leadership. But if there's one style that employees detest, is the style of micromanagement, right? Because they feel suffocated, they feel as if they are in a claustrophobic kind of situation. Having said that, micromanagement has its place in situations when employees are new or in a development program which employees are part of. But by and large, micromanagement doesn't work. What is important is that employees are given responsibility. When they're given a responsibility, they feel accountable to that particular situation, which leads to ownership. I know organizations are in a great hurry to post growth, and they should. But sustained growth for organization happens only when employees become experts in their expertise. And the way for them to become experts in their expertise is by providing them responsibility and accountability. So provide employees responsibility and accountability, and you will actually see them love their job. In a sense, they become an entrepreneur within an organization, and that's what you really want. You don't want them to look at it, this is a job that I need to accomplish, but they begin to realize that this is my own kind of business, if you may, which I need to make a difference of. So responsibility, accountability is something that needs to be handed to employees. I think successful organizations have moved away from the style of control kind of a leadership style. Now they have moved and embraced a style which is lead to connect. So this is the style which really gets the best out of employees.
So Rajiv, what according to you is the ideal strategy for employee engagement?
Strategy is a good word, but my focus will be culture. The be-all and end-all of a happy workplace is culture. A healthy culture will result with happy employees. It is a healthy culture and not so much a strategy which is going to drive high employee engagement. So what is a healthy culture? In my mind, healthy culture will constitute the following ingredients, which is trust, openness, passion, an ability to speak his mind, whether it's an employee, whether it's a customer, just an openness to actually speak one's mind. And often in many organizations, that's a limitation. You're not able to speak your mind out. It is also about a fun place. How can you create a fun place? How can organizations move from being a thank God it's a Friday company to becoming a thank God it's a Monday company? And when your organization is a thank God it's a Monday company, it's manifestation of great culture. I've had the good fortune of working with some fabulous organizations, but there are a couple of organizations I really hold close to my heart, and the reason is simply because of the culture that prevailed there. And these are organizations till today have the lowest employee attrition, and it's no surprise that they are market leaders in what they do. So, Becky, at the end of the day, it is culture, it is the ownership of not just everybody in the pyramid, but I will think the primary custodian of culture is the management, is the managers, is the leaders of people. It is their main job to ensure that a great culture is part of the organizational ecosystem.
Rajiv, all of this has been so insightful. Thank you so much. But if you were to summarize all of this into a few key takeaways for organizational leadership and for employers, what would they be?
Money, designations, titles, important, but beyond the point, what is core and integral is that employees need to understand that their contribution makes a difference to a larger picture. Secondly, employees need to be recognized as individuals with feelings and emotions and an integral part of the stakeholder ecosystem. Third, it's important to create an environment which is conducive for continual learning and development. Fourth, leadership styles, I think different leadership styles, but inculcate ownership and responsibility to employees. That's the way organizations are going to grow in scale as they develop in-house talent. And finally, and most important and foundationally, the presence of a very healthy organizational culture.
Thank you so much, Rajiv. That was really good. If you'd like to connect with Rajiv, please comment on the video below. You can also write to him or visit his website. Alternatively, you can connect with Rajiv on all his social profiles. Thank you so much. This is Becky signing off. Until next time, goodbye.